Last week in Ocean City, we witnessed a coming out party on the water. Deck-to-deck drama and a study in frustration from the team to beat. Now, the OPA descends upon South Florida for a second consecutive rough water race on the Atlantic. Can Miss Geico right the ship? Will Spirit of Qatar continue to impress? Powerboat Racing drops the flag coming up right now on Versus.
All units stand by for a first start. Green flag, green flag. Coming up on the turn.
Welcome to Sunny Isles Beach, Florida. We are just north of Miami Beach for the second stop on the OPA Racing Series presented by Geico. Hi again, everybody. Thanks for tuning into Versus. Rich Hollenberg along with my broadcast partner, Mike Yawoski. And Mike, we're here at Sunny Isles Beach to watch a lot of the who's who in powerboat racing on the Atlantic this weekend. But let's start off by talking about some of the most exciting racing, spec class racing.
Spec class racing is going to be very, very exciting here in Florida out in the Atlantic Ocean. Spec class racing is what we can most relate to NASCAR, if you would. The boats are very similar. The engines are very similar. The racing is extremely tight. You've got 30-foot Super V lights, which are 525 Bravo engine boats. You've got Super Cat Light, which are catamarans with twin 525s. And then we have a new class, which we didn't really get to see last week, Super Stock, which is another catamaran boat powered by twin Mercury outboard engines. So spec class racing could be the way to go.
And it's always some of the most exciting racing, so you can't miss that. But when you talk about exciting racing, everybody who knows anything about powerboats knows that Miss Geico is always a boat to keep an eye on.
Well, Miss Geico, unfortunately, last week in Ocean City had some very serious mechanical issues. They were unable to start the race. They went out, they tested yesterday, they spent all last week testing. The boat is perfect. I talked to Mark and Scotty at length yesterday. They said the boats never felt so good. They feel great. They're ready to go. It should be a great show with those guys.
We spoke to a lot of drivers, as a matter of fact, leading up to race day here at Sunny Isles Beach. Let's hear what some of the drivers had to say who are more determined than ever to bring home a win.
This class is really tight. The rules allow for every boat to be, very, very close as soon as they come out of the box. So, everybody's a threat, but we're hoping to hold them off.
Much more comfortable. We are getting used to the boat. It feels good, real balance, everything. So, yeah, we cross our fingers. This is to go our way.
We have an obligation as a camaraderie to help each other, and anything that's on our truck or any skills that we have that they need before the green flag, we're there to help them. When the green flag drops, they're on their own.
Well, we try to beat him. We beat him at registration, we try to beat him on the water as well. So it's only races left to beat him right now.
We had a thing going on with talking trash for almost toward like the end of the race. So it was a rough seas. It was the conditions that I liked it to be. We were a little bit heavy on fuel, but when we started burning some fuel, the boat got a little bit light, so we got the speed and we got the win.
It was a great time. I think we went sideways more than we went forward, to block those guys. I mean, I said to Vinny, we got in the boat, I said, listen, it's big water. They got 42-foot boats. I said, we're going to have our hands full with these guys. The best I can do is if you get me out front, Vinny, I'll block them the whole day. The first time a boat gets between us and them, they're going to walk the dog on us, and it kind of happened at the last lap.
I'm squeezing my boat in any inch there is possible between him and the buoy, so he better watch out this time. I don't think they'll be talking trash as much as they did last time, so we'll keep them quiet this time.
We're going to be looking for one in our rearview mirror pretty much this trip. We got another guy to watch too, the Rated R boat. He's fast. They got crazy Tyler Crockett in there. We're going to give him one too.
Louis with the Strictly Business, he's in our class also. I build Louis' motors too, so we kind of run against our own stuff here.
So we'll just crush them, run them over, smash them. We can idle around and win. It's really not much of a problem. There's no battleship will hang in there.
Mike and I have commandeered the Geico Caveman Pace Boat at the beginning of the races here at Sunny Isles Beach, just a couple hundred yards offshore. Mike, tell us about what we can expect from the weather conditions.
Well, you've got a northeast breeze, about 5 to 10 miles an hour. It's put a little bit of a 1 to 2 foot, what we'd call a sloppy chop out here. The boats running into it are going to have a little bit harder of a time because of the chop. Look for the faster speeds as they run down the course, headed south here along Sunny Isles Beach.
Now, conditions are one thing, competition something completely different, and people have turned out in full force for this racing weekend.
Yeah, watch out for those Super V lights. I really think that's going to be the race to watch this weekend. Single engine, 525 horsepower, 30-foot V-bottoms, always a great race. We've got some super stocks, we've got some 750 boats. The racing action today is going to be awesome.
Well, we're getting the word from race control that the drivers are ready to head out onto the course, so what do you say, Mikey? Let's take this pace boat back before they know it's gone.
I think they might need it before the race. Let's go.
All right, fire it up. The 2010 OPA Offshore Racing Series presented by Geico is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% on your insurance needs. By Coke. Twist the cap to refreshment. And by Coors. Toss a cold silver bullet to a friend now. Welcome back to Sunny Isles Beach, Florida. Huge crowds on hand, braving some pretty hot conditions here just north of Miami Beach, but these people know how to stay cool, and to do that, they're getting as close to the racing action as possible. Let's take a look at our lineups.
Well, Cat Extreme, let's see if that 113 Miss Geico boat can have some better fortune here in Sunny Isles Beach, Florida. And let's see what happens now that we throw Billy Moth and WHM in that 750 class.
Of course, if you remember, Billy Moth filling in for Talking Trash last week had a nice second place finish. This week he's back in his own boat. And in Class 1, Lightning Jacks has an inside lane, and they're hoping to get back into victory lane.
In this V-Light class, watch your back racing with Brian Forehand and Doc Jansen on board. There you see Miss Geico idling out into the milling area. You know what? Spirit of Qatar, boat number 96, is finally going to get a dose of those turbines. These guys are going to be really on point here in Sunny Isles Beach, Florida.
And that should be some of the most exciting racing that we're going to see here on race day in Sunny Isles Beach, as we are on board looking at what Mark Brannon and Scotty Begovich see out on the Atlantic Ocean.
Well, as the boats line up along this beautiful beach here in Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, you can see Billy Moth in the exact place he wanted to be, the inside lane, Talking Trash second. Then you have the Spirit of Qatar boat, JD Byrider, and the second Spirit of Qatar boat all lined up. This is going to be a great start.
And you notice toward the bottom of your screen, that's the Miss Geico boat way on the outside. If there's any boat that would like a position like that, it's got to be Miss Geico.
Of course, they'll be able to carry more speed around those corners. They don't have the instant acceleration, so the more they can keep those throttles open, the more speed they'll carry as we get ready to start.
And you will see them with a burst of speed once they get on plane that no other boat in this class really has.
The rooster tails go up. That means the green flag is getting ready to drop. They're starting to build up their speed. Let's see if we can get a start here in Sunny Isles Beach, Florida. There we go. Miss Geico jumps out to the early lead, but look at WHM in that inside lane. He's going to control all of these boats in that corner.
And Talking Trash off to a good start, too, as close to the inside as they could ask for.
This mirrors Ocean City. Look at these four Super Cat 750 boats as they're deck to deck into turn number one.
On board with Miss Geico, and what a sound these boats make when you get up close and personal to them. They all have to maintain their lanes on this 2-mile stretch. Tell us a little bit about that and about this race course, Mike.
Well, as they head across the start-finish line into turn number one, they have chosen lanes. They have to maintain those lanes all the way through turn number one. So as you see Qatar, JD Byrider, and Miss Geico, they cannot move from those positions until they're on the back straightaway of this course, running the 2 miles into the upper end of the course.
Now, Mike, last time at Ocean City, we saw Spirit of Qatar with Sheikh Hassan and Steve Curtis willing to sit back and wait and pick their spots. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that on this course.
Much more aggressive. Bad news for JD Byrider, Tony Marcantonio, and Mark Kowalski. Looks like they dropped off the pace early as we go into this first corner. Miss Geico on the outside, that Spirit of Qatar next to them. Remember, have to maintain their lane positions as we get ready for the Class 1
Well, let's
start.
face it, Mike, that is what everybody turned out to see. They wanted to see Miss Geico, they heard about Qatar, and those two boats were deck to deck.
A great, great battle as we see Rockstar Energy Drink. There's Lightning Jacks and Cleveland Construction. Here comes Sheds Plus. We have a green flag. We're going to go racing. Remember, maintain your lane, guys. That's very important here.
And remember, in the earlier part of the show, we mentioned Spec Class Racing is going to be some of the most exciting boats to watch.
A Class 1 entry, Mikasuki Indian Gaming, another fountain doing battle. Rockstar is a black boat. That's a skater. Sheds Plus, the white boat, is a fountain. Two classic V-bottoms doing a classic battle here in Sunny Isles Beach,
Just
Florida.
an unbelievable amount of air that you see between the water and the bottom of the boats.
Flying high, as we like to say. That's why we have a throttle man and a driver. Look at the start in Super V. R-rated racing with Rolf and Tyler out to an early lead.
And right behind them is Strictly Business, and Louis was mentioning he might have something up his sleeve for R-rated, but right now, R-rated's got the edge. Where is What's Up, though?
That was going to be the question of the day. The Was Up Purple Fountain, Ed and Anthony Smith, nowhere to be found in the start, but it looks like boat number 77, Amsoil, out to an early lead in Super Cat Light as the Super Cat Extreme Class makes their turn and heads up this race course. That's Talking Trash on the inside, then WHM Miss Geico on the outside. No Spirit of Qatar boats.
What happened to them? Both Spirit of Qatar boats are out of the picture right now, and all three of these boats that you see are essentially where they want to be at this point in the race.
Billy Moff, the driver of that yellow WHM skater, remember last week filled in Ocean City, Maryland, in the boat we're riding on board with, Talking Trash. Rich, you think that gave him some sort of an advantage?
With Billy, I would think so. Oh, and look at this. We were wondering where Qatar was, and here they come, and just like that, it looks like they're passing the WHM boat and challenging Miss Geico.
Well, that's boat number 96. Remember, they waved to Billy Moff, gave him a salute as they went by. They're going to try and take the lead in the 750 class. Not quite able to make it stick. Talking Trash on the inside. Spirit of Qatar is in a very, very bad position. Don't have to maintain their lanes going to that corner. Qatar can get pinched. You don't want to be there.
And keeping you posted on some really tight battles. This one for second place right now. Rockstar on the outside, Cleveland Construction on the inside, and that inside lane is doing them wonders. They are catching up like a rocket.
Cleveland Construction starts to make a pass on Rockstar Energy Drink on the inside. Cleveland Construction not running so well in Ocean City. It looks like Ed and Sean Smith have got that boat dialed in. Both of these guys trying to catch Mikasuki Indian Gaming out to the early lead. But look at boat number 96, Spirit of Qatar, starting to get a little loose as we head up this race course.
I think we are witnessing the beginning of a great rivalry between Spirit of Qatar and the WHM boat. We didn't see WHM much last time in Ocean City because Billy Moff was racing them in the Talking Trash boat, but now it is on, and they're both chasing Miss Geico.
On board with Miss Geico as they head along the beach, lots of speed. The boat looks great, not too bow high, but this is the battle to watch. And Rich, we have to ask at this point, where's Talking Trash?
Talking Trash, who dominated most of the race last week, only to finish second, and a frustrating second to Spirit of Qatar. But look at this, Qatar has given even Geico all she can handle.
Qatar pulls up along the inside of Miss Geico. Sheikh Hassan and Steve Curtis are going to control that inside line. Mark Granite and Scotty Begovic are going to have to respect it and give them room.
They put in a lot of overtime in the time between Ocean City and this weekend in Sunny Isles Beach, getting used to the new parts that they had to put in. A lot of damage done to that Miss Geico boat. It's almost like they're driving a brand new boat.
There has to be a lot of nerves inside that cockpit. Remember, they didn't even start the race before. Now they're on about their third lap, so the bugs are probably starting to get out of them just a little bit, but they have to be wondering, man, is this thing going to make it?
Well, doubt creeps into your mind anytime you see boats either in your side view mirror or, even worse, in your front windshield. But right now, Miss Geico is doing just that. They're looking at Spirit of Qatar on the inside lane.
We said it at the beginning of the show. We knew that Spirit of Qatar was finally going to get a dose of these turbines.
Well, we have more great racing in store for you as these offshore powerboats continue from Sunny Isles Beach. We're back with more offshore powerboat racing, the OPA Racing Series presented by Geico. Stop number 2, we are in sunny Isles Beach, Florida, just north of Miami, and we have seen some great racing to start off here. Mike Jaworski along with myself, Rich Hollenberg, and here's what we're talking about. Spirit of Qatar giving Miss Geico all she can handle in the early going.
Well, remember, we talked about Miss Geico, the problems in Ocean City. It looks like they're having much better luck here on the Atlantic Ocean here right off the coast of Florida.
They spent countless hours retooling this boat after a couple of unfortunate incidents, but right now it looks like she is brand new, and let's face it, a lot of the parts that she has on her are brand new, and this is the kind of deck-to-deck racing that makes the OPA Racing Series so popular.
Here's Talking Trash. They were your leaders in Ocean City. Unfortunately, Jimmy Winters unable to get back in the boat. Now they've got Mike DeFries driving this skater.
And do these guys know each other enough that there's really no drop-off when you have to swap out partners?
No, these guys are adamant professionals. They're the best at what they do. And, of course, swapping boats, not really a big day to them. It's just another Sunday drive. Look at Qatar trying to make a move on the inside of Miss Geico. But here comes WHM. He makes a move on the course, getting in the middle, and then Talking Trash and J.D. Byrider bringing up the back of the pack.
You got to know that that's going to affect the ride for J.D. Byrider and for Talking Trash. They're basically driving in the wake of the other boats ahead of them.
Miss Geico gets around Spirit of Qatar one more time. They're spooling those turbines up. Spirit of Qatar now back in second place. Look at how fast we're going down the beach.
And you know John Hagen is sitting there in race control, hearing those engines and saying, we're back to where we need to be.
Your leader in Super Cat Light, boat number 77, Amsoil, Paul Whittier and Bob Teague. Paul Whittier, the original driver of this skater, back in the boat here in Florida.
And What's Up, we finally see one quick shot of What's Up, but we've got to figure out what's going on with them. We haven't heard much from them in their class. Infinity back in racing strong, a second place finish last week. Now they're looking for a win here in Sunny Isles Beach.
This is only their second race in that boat, so they're still trying to figure out what that boat can do, what that boat can't do. But I'm telling you what, you've got to work twice as hard when you're trying to catch Bob Teague and Paul Whittier in Amsoil.
And What's Up is finally making their move up the fleet, making a pass right now on Strictly Business. Those two boats go head-to-head virtually every race, and now What's Up is getting the best of them again.
We'll have to wonder what happened to R-rated racing. They were leading. There they are now, dropped all the way back to third place. The Ocean is being a great equalizer amongst these V-bottoms here off the coast of Florida. Here's your leader, Mikosuke, in Class 1.
Is this a big surprise? I mean, we haven't seen Mikosuke yet this season, and here they are out in front of virtually everybody.
This is a very, very fast boat, but remember, they have not been around, so these guys don't know how fast they have to go. These boats are bracketed by speed, meaning that they can't break out of their speed category, so if you're in second place, you want to stay there because the boat ahead of you may have broken out.
Ed and Sean Smith, Cleveland Construction, currently in second place in Class 1. We were on board with them, and now you see the kind of lead they're building up.
Well, this is interesting. A cat can outturn a V-bottom. Whoa, Rockstar has to go through the rooster tail trying to make that move. Ed and Sean Smith actually kind of pinched them just a little bit, but they did not do anything illegal. Those guys are on point.
Hey, that's racing, right?
That is racing. Rockstar Energy Drink, the V-bottom in this class, now 2 V-bottoms. I know these guys are very, very disappointed. They've really got to start to step up their game.
Well, they're getting a taste of what life is like on the OPA Racing Series for sure. But veteran teams like Miss Geico look to have it all dialed in right now on Sunny Isles Beach. Scotty Begovic, Mark Granite have Miss Geico running the way they wanted it to do from the beginning. And I got to take a look and a listen to what life is like in the Miss Geico camp before the race started to find out just what goes in to getting all this power. With speeds topping out at over 200 miles an hour on the Atlantic Ocean, you can imagine the torque, the pressure that's on a boat like Miss Geico. And they have some concerns leading up to race day here at Sunny Isles Beach. Mark, you're checking things out on the back of the boat. Give us a look into what's going on with Miss Geico.
Well, after Ocean City, we've done a considerable amount of testing, and we're testing some new setups, and coming out to Sunny Isles Beach, we put a lot of pressure on the boat, and during testing, Scotty was really leaning on the throttles. What we noticed is that we've got a shaft that's beginning to gall up a little bit, and that comes from a slight vibration. I could feel it in my foot as we were testing. It's a very, very high-pitched vibration, almost tickles your feet. And when the guys got into it, they found that one of our bushings had worn a little bit. And as you can see, just the pressures inside has taken treated steel and started to gall it up. So the guys have reviewed it. They've replaced out all our bearings and our bushings right now, and we're going to bring it back out and see if we've licked the problem.
Scotty, does that change the strategy, or is it harder for you to say, I can't change my strategy, I just have to have faith that the setup is the right setup?
That's exactly it. You have to have faith that the setup is the right setup. Our guys are the best. They know what they're doing, so they'll get this thing licked. We'll go out, we'll run it, we'll check it again. Everything should be fine. We'll be ready to rock and roll.
Well, Rich was down in the pits talking to Scotty and Mark about the torque that's put on these propellers. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've provided you with a very unique view of what these propellers go through on an offshore race boat.
That is not something you usually get to see. A view from the underside of these offshore powerboats. And now's the perfect time to grab your remote, pump up the volume, and crank it up with Geico. Well, certainly, at least on television, the Geico Crank It Up feature is very popular with fans, but this sport is ever expanding its popularity to race fans across the world. Technomarine is a company that recognized that, and they wanted to jump on board, literally, with Miss Geico. Get an up-close view of the Miss Geico on the waters of the Atlantic and Sunny Isle Beach. Steve Cohen, CEO of Technomarine. Got a little added advertising on the Geico boat with the Technomarine logo. I bet you never saw it go that fast, huh?
I never dreamed of it. In fact, I heard that it goes up to 210 miles an hour. It's pretty incredible. Pretty incredible.
What's it like experiencing this for the first time up close?
You know, I didn't think I'd like it as much as I did. I'm really starting to get into it. It's just really fantastic. I can understand how people can just go with it. I mean, it's just great.
What are your thoughts on the entire sport of powerboat racing, the OPA, and the future that it holds in store for them and for Technomarine?
Well, I think there's great synergies between what we do and what they do. It's all about speed and timing and precision, and it's just perfect. That's a great marriage, and we're looking forward to doing a lot of things with the Miss Geico Racing Team and AMF in the future.
Speaking of time, it is time for us to take a timeout, but don't go anywhere. We have more great racing right after this. Welcome back. We'd like to thank the Newport Hotel for their hospitality. Great location to watch offshore powerboat racing here on the Atlantic, so much so that the OPA officials made it their race control site.
Well, it's been a great place to hang out. As you can see, everybody taking pictures of what's happening down here in Sunny Isles Beach, Florida.
Now let's shift gears just a little bit and see what the action is in Super V Light class.
Super V Light, remember, a smaller version of our Super V class, a single 525 horsepower Mercury racing engine with a Bravo outdrive, and your leader, watch your back, with Doc Jansen and Brian Forehand on board.
And then Team Extreme is a close second place.
These are all spec class racing boats, so ideally they're supposed to go as fast as one another, as we see Progressive Motorsports in third.
Wow, and you see the air that these boats are catching. The smaller the boat, the bigger the air.
Definitely. This little fountain, though, has been on fire all year long and will be the boat to watch as we move along through our 2010 OPA Racing Series presented by Geico.
Mike said it earlier in the show, these smaller spec classes sometimes provide some of the most exciting racing, especially here at Sunny Isles Beach. Now we look at the battle shaping up in Class 1, these V-bottoms versus Cats, a classic battle.
Mikasuki Indian Gaming, your early leader in Class 1. Cleveland Construction is on fire. They are catching that red fountain. Ed and Sean Smith doing a great job out here today.
Earlier in the race, we saw Rockstar. They got a great hole shot to start the race, but now they've fallen back a little bit. They've been chasing Mikasuki the entire time, and Cleveland Construction has put them in their rear view as well.
Cleveland Construction is going to be on the outside. Mikasuki Indian Gaming on the inside. As we take a look at Rockstar Energy Drink, these guys, again, have to be disappointed with what they're seeing. They're just watching this battle go on, and then Sheds Plus, another very, very fast fountain, maybe just a little off on their setup today.
Sheds plus in 4th place, and really, Mike, it comes down to just a couple of miles per hour between these boats that can make all the difference in the world.
Well, exactly. It also comes down to weight and balance. If you're not 110% out here in the ocean where the boat is flying, you just don't feel safe inside that cockpit. As we go around this corner, Mikasuki Indian Gaming continuing to lead. Cleveland Construction looking on the inside, but made the smarter of the 2 decisions, staying on the outside.
And in your expert opinion, you've been covering this sport for a long, long time. On this type of water on the Atlantic, which type of boat should have the advantage, a V-bottom or a cat?
Well, a V-bottom in these conditions will do a little bit better. One, they can turn much, much tighter than a catamaran, but also look at a V-bottom as it's a knife. It's going to cut through the water, as to where a cat like Cleveland Construction rides on a cushion of air.
And now here's a super stock battle. Talbot leading into turn 1 with Rolling Vengeance, and Steve Quick Jewelers battling for that 2nd place spot. That's a tight race.
That's a great race. Talbot excavating a new boat to this team this year. Those guys have had a couple of races on it, but they're getting that thing dialed in, and I'm telling you what, they're perfect right now as they head along the Atlantic Ocean.
You know, the more you analyze these boats, the more you break down the classes, the one common thread, at least this week in Sunny Isles Beach on the Atlantic, all of these classes are featuring really tight races between the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd boats.
We went right from Ocean City, Maryland here to Sunny Isles Beach, Florida with deck-to-deck battles. Oh, look at this. Spirit of Qatar out in the lead once again. That's WHM on the inside, Miss Geico on the outside. One would think, why is Miss Geico running this course so wide? But they're able to carry so much more speed through the corner.
And it's unbelievable to appreciate the fact that Geico and Qatar are about a football field apart on this race course width-wise, but only inches apart from the tips of the nose of those boats for 1st place.
Well, this is definitely deck-to-deck battles. Look how close Geico and Qatar. Remember, Mark and Scotty are going to have to respect the Qatar line in this corner. You do not want to ingest salt water into turbine motors.
Mike, it is just amazing at what a difference a week makes. Just 1 week ago in Ocean City, Maryland, things couldn't have been bleaker for the Miss Geico racing team, and this week it looks like they are in top form. Let's take a minute to get to know all the hard work that goes into this high-performance boat.
As much work as we've done, we did not live up to those expectations.
Put the boat in the water, had some issues, took it out. Put the boat in the water, solved a few issues, still had other issues.
So when we got there, the exhaust apparently didn't have enough wrap on it, or it was too hot. So what it did is actually heated up the engine compartment too much. Somehow it shifted over too, so that it kind of burned up the wing a little bit, so we had some mayhem there.
You know, this is just one of those situations where it's another one of those things that happens during racing and motorsports that you just have to overcome.
We hire a bunch of people, and not everybody lasts because it is hard work. To do what the trucking crew does, to do what our boat crew does, it is hard, hard work. And unless you have got a passion for the sport, they're not doing it for the money. They've got to be making their boat and our team a winner.
My crew, as always, has come through. They put the throttles down, they got to work, and we spent the past 3 days testing, and they ultimately gave Scotty and I a boat yesterday that did everything that we wanted it to do.
The guys worked, they probably worked 7 days a week, 12 to 15 hours a day for the last month on that boat, sometimes till 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 24 hours a day, to get the boat to where we believe right now it's ready to rock and roll.
You can't win them all, and you're not going to be perfect, and those imperfections are what make you real. The most difficult part for us over the past week and a half, for Scott and myself, was knowing that we are so much better, and that all the hard work just wasn't enough.
It's it's so much work, traveling with 20 guys, mechanics, the divers, the paramedics, the medics, and so it's just, and then bringing up the big top. So basically we're putting up like 10,000 feet of canvas between my VIP hauler, all that. So we're moving and just keeping all of the other all the other racers with us. So we have like food, water, everything right there. So we travel with them, and you know what? It's a lot of work to do to keep moving. But with any luck, we might be able to get something accomplished this year, and hopefully we might be able to get our 5th World Championship.
Welcome back to Sunny Isles Beach, Florida. It's stop number 2 on the OPA Racing Series presented by Geico. Rich Hollenberg along with Mike Yawoski. And Mike, what a difference a few moments makes. Just before we went to break, it was virtual deck-to-deck racing with Miss Geico and the Spirit of Qatar. And now, Miss Geico really seems to be rounding into form.
What I think you're starting to see here is Mark and Scotty getting comfortable with what is essentially them a brand new boat. Remember, they did not race this boat in Ocean City, so this is their first race in the 2010 season, and they're just starting to get into their groove, but you can't take anything away from this 96 Spirit of Qatar team. They have been awesome again in round number 2.
If this has proven anything from 1 week on the Atlantic to this week on the Atlantic, it's that the Spirit of Qatar boat knows how to run on rough water.
Those guys are here to do nothing but win, but look at WHM. He is on the outside, not even a full rooster tail length behind Spirit of Qatar, and we look at Talkin' Trash getting ready to lap, Rolling Vengeance, trying to make up as much ground as they can.
Talkin' Trash had a great run in the first week of the season in Ocean City, Maryland, only to fall up this short to Spirit of Qatar, and they are doing everything in their power to get as many points as they can in that chase for the elusive High Points Championship.
Tony Marcantonio and Mark Kowalski in this JD Byrider skater. I'm telling you, these guys have been a little bit, oh, wait a minute, look at that. I just saw JD Byrider starting to make a move on Talking Trash on the outside. Let's see if they can make it stick going into this turn.
And once again, something that seems to be a recurring theme here in this race course, deck-to-deck racing, and yet here's the Was Up boat that was all but invisible in the beginning of the race, now pulling away.
Rich, actually they're slowing down, it looks like, trying to maybe pull off in the middle of the course. Oh, they were just taking that pin as tightly as they possibly could. Ed Smith turning that fountain as hard as he possibly can. Strictly Business back in second place in our Super V class. Remember, this is a great battle. Oh, wait a minute, Was Up pulls off the course with some sort of mechanical problem. That gives the lead to Strictly Business. Louie and Eric on board may be able to check out. We don't know where our rated is at this point, but an unfortunate day for Ed and Anthony Smith and Was Up.
We're going to have to check in with race control and find out exactly what happened there. But look at this, as these two boats come up to speed, there's a cat on the inside and a V-bottom on the outside.
Well, that's JD Byrider getting ready to lap Strictly Business, but here's R-rated racing, so let's give you an idea of what's happening now. They have seen Was Up out their window, broken on the middle of the course, meaning they're going to go after Louie and Eric in Strictly Business.
Well, it's certainly been tight. Wow, look at the Miccosukee boat. A couple of huge hits there, and they caught major air. Miccosukie's been in first place almost this entire race. I don't know how they can keep up this pace.
Well, that shows bigger air there. Almost stuffs that boat on its right side, lays it over. Remember, these guys are in the lead, but I think this ocean might be churning up just a little bit.
They somehow kept that ship headed in the right direction. That is some exciting stuff on the Atlantic. Cleveland Construction probably has the best view on the water of what just happened. They got to be thinking, if that doesn't break down their boat, nothing will.
Well, I'm looking at all these boat sheds, plus Cleveland Construction. It looks like all these boats are starting to get thrown around a little bit more as the waves get a little bit bigger.
Now, you and I were out on the water. We felt those rollers. Do they seem to be getting worse as the afternoon wears on?
It looks like the groundswell might be building a little bit. Miccosukee Indian Gaming on the inside, Cleveland Construction on the outside. Miccosukee Indian Gaming did not take that turn well at all. He was way wide, way off the pin, which means he's losing a little bit of ground to Cleveland Construction. And like I said, Cleveland Construction's going to make their move.
Mike, I don't know what happened, but Miccosukee seems to be slowing down, and Cleveland Construction taking advantage of it. A big pass on the backstretch. Cleveland Construction now in first place.
Well, for the viewers at home, I can explain to you all only like this. When those guys launched in that Miccosukee Indian Gaming boat, that's like hitting a wall, okay? Imagine the effects on your body, also the effects on that boat. It'd be very surprised if the Miccosukee Indian boat could keep on going. After two hard hits, back-to-back just like that. And as I say that, they have now pulled off into the middle of the course, and they're on idle.
And you can see that that is going to end the race day for Mikasuki, who was in first place the entire race, but now it's Cleveland Construction's to lose.
Cleveland Construction's got nothing but wide open water. They really don't have a way to see behind them and what's going on, but all they have to do is be smart and consistent. Oh, and boat number 8, Infinity, is out of the Super Cat Light race.
So Infinity had some troubles back in Ocean City, got a little helping hand from this man, Bob Teague, and the Amsoil crew. But now, I don't think there's any help in the Infinity team, and Amsoil is going to have an easy path to victory.
Well, Bob Teague and Paul Whittier basically can check out now, kind of put the boat on cruise control. It is still a rough water race. They're still going to have to pay some attention, but these guys pretty much have the win in the bag here at Sunny Isles Beach, Florida.
We still have a couple of laps to go before the checkered flag falls. Bob Teague and company have to feel great about their opportunity to pick up a second consecutive win here in Sunny Isles Beach. As for Miss Geico, we told you before, she is looking spot on sharp, and we'll finish up this race when we come back right after this. We are back on what many people regard as Florida's Riviera, the beautiful Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, just north of Miami. Rich Hollenberg, Mike Uwaski taking you through the final couple of laps in another exciting stop on the OPA Racing Series presented by Geico. And speaking of Geico, Miss Geico has been turning and burning this entire course.
Well, at this point in the race, the boats have burned off most of their fuel. They're going to start to get light. They might get a little bit what we call flighty, meaning they're going to get a lot more air packed underneath the boats, but everybody is keeping it together, and it's been a great race up until this point.
And you know, Mike, now's a good point as we watch Spirit of Qatar on the Atlantic. There's something unique about the sound of this boat. What is that?
This boat is powered by twin V12 Lamborghini 850 horsepower engines, much like a Lamborghini car, so they have a much higher pitch as compared to WHM, who has two 750 horsepower naturally aspirated carburetor motors in it. A big difference here in the Super Cat class.
That's a mouthful, easy for you to say. We're on board with Talkin' Trash, who had such a great start last week, but this week, let's be honest, Mike, it looks like they're a little bit overmatched.
They are a little bit overmatched, but it is a little bit rougher than it was in Ocean City, Maryland this week. And I think the Qatar boats just have a little bit better of a setup, but nobody can beat the Amsoil setup right now, nor can they beat Strictly Business, still your leader in Super V.
And we are in our final lap, Strictly Business, holding on to the lead in Super V. And there we see on the opposite side of the race course, Miss Geico making the last turn, and that last run down the backstretch, what essentially turns into a victory lap for Mark and Scotty.
Well, Miss Geico looking very flat. I think Mark and Scotty realized what they've done. At this point, their team manager, Gary Stray, and also owner John Hagan are saying, there's no point in beating the equipment up, boys. Let's just take an easy ride home.
I got to tell you, from this helicopter view, there's no quit in Spirit of Qatar, though. They're making one last-ditch effort to try to catch and maybe even pass Miss Geico.
Well, they've got a lot of work to do. They were very far behind going into this last lap, but I'm telling you, Steve Curtis and Sheikh Hassan can do it.
Well, last week it seemed like we were tipping our caps to Spirit of Qatar. This week, you have to give credit where credit is due. All the hard work from not just the driver and the throttle man, but everybody on that Miss Geico team really paying off in a victory, and a resounding victory at that.
Well, it's very important for this team to come out and make their statement like they have done. They were not happy with Ocean City, but now they've stepped up their game.
So another win for the Amsoil team. Bob Teague has to be thrilled with back-to-back victories. And another tip of the cap to Spirit of Qatar. Sheikh Hassan and Steve Curtis showing up well once again on the Atlantic Ocean.
Going 2 for 2 here in the United States against some very tough competition in Talkin' Trash and WHM. But I know that those two teams are going to go back and do their homework to figure out what it's going to take to beat Spirit of Qatar.
And let's face it, the two heaviest hitters in this field, Miss Geico and Spirit of Qatar, we were treated to what we were looking forward to. We saw some deck-to-deck racing between those two great teams, and they didn't disappoint.
No, it was a great day down here in Sunny Isles Beach, Florida. You see Mark and Scotty climbing out of the cockpit of Miss Geico. Mark points. Is he going to be able to make it? Pow! There he goes, ladies and gentlemen, with his home run.
A home run for Geico. We're back to wrap things up after this. 2010 OPA Offshore Racing Series presented by Geico has been brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% on your insurance needs. By Coke. Twist the cap to refreshment. And by Coors. Toss a cold silver bullet to a friend now. Back to wrap things up from Sunny Isles Beach, Florida. Stop number 2 on the OPA Racing Series presented by Geico. Your final results from each class, and it was tight racing throughout these classes this afternoon. And in Class 1, Cleveland Construction takes the win in a come-from-behind victory. Interesting to note, Lightning Jacks dropping down to 4th, but here's Mike with the victors.
Winners in Class 1, Cleveland Construction. First off, Ed Smith, it's hot here in Florida, brother.
I'll tell you what, I've never been to a place that's so hot. I mean, when you walk, you're sweating. This is unbelievably hot.
Well, let's describe the really hot action on the race course between you and Miccosukee Indian Game at deck to deck.
Oh, it was phenomenal. I brought my son back in the boat with me. He's running the OPA circuit with me, and it's our little secret weapon that we kept hid here before we showed up here. I think people, when they seen him on the dock, they didn't like him here.
But Sean, you weren't in Ocean City. Now you're here. I'm telling you, I watched the race. The boat looked impressive. You have to be happy with your performance.
Yeah, everything worked real well today. It was good to get back in the boat. It took me a lap or two to get into it. Boat run great. Water was a little lumpy, but real nice. Miccosukee, they always come out fighting. Everybody's did real well out there today, and we kept her together, and that's the name of the game.
In Super V, your winner, Strictly Business, R-rated in second, and was up with a disappointing third.
You feel like your team and your boat is getting better as the season goes on?
Oh yeah, progressively. And truthfully, the What's Up guys, you know, Smitty and Anthony and stuff, they're very generous with knowledge. They help us a lot. They help us balance the boat, and all the guys are. Tyler Crockett, Dean. I mean, these guys not only are competitors, they're our friends, and you know, we all work together, and it keeps it close. It keeps it fun.
But it makes things a little more competitive when you're this close in the point standings, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
In Super Cat Light, Amsoil makes it 2 for 2 on the OPA Racing Series presented by Geico Infinity with a close second place finish.
Your winner in Super Cat Light, Bob Teague, second race in a row. You made it look easy.
Yeah, it was actually almost similar water as Ocean City here in Sunny Isles Beach. It looked smooth again from the beach, but it actually wasn't smooth. Great race course, about 6.2 miles around the way we had it figured. You know, it had some holes out there, and the one difference here, it was hot. It was hot in there, and it's hard to make horsepower when it's hot, and it's hard on the guys when it's as hot as it gets in that cockpit, probably 120, 125 degrees. But we had a great run. Boat was perfectly prepared. I was probably a little overpropped, but I knew that if I ran those props, they wouldn't break.
And on to the Super Cat and Cat Extremes. The overall winner, Miss Geico, but another big victory in the Super Cat class by Spirit of Qatar.
Really good. The boat ran really great. We had a little problem with our ventilator system, so in there I think if we'd had a couple more laps, and I think we'd have probably passed out. So we were really glad to see that checkered flag.
Scotty Begovic, first off, a tremendous amount of pressure leading up to this weekend.
Yeah, well, we fell completely flat on our face in Ocean City, and we went back to the drawing board. Our boys did our homework. Everybody put their nose to the grindstones and acted like real professionals that they are. We came out on top.
Mark Granite, take me through that race. You played with the Qatar boats for a while. You guys said you had an issue in the cockpit, really, really hot.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mike, we've had a new setup this weekend. Scott and I haven't been in the boat since February when we did the run with the Time Bandit crew, and this is really our first event to get it knocked out. It was a little snotty out there. We had a side sea, and we were just kind of really working it to try and get a feel for it. The Qatar guys and the 750 guys are always fast, so we just figured we would. Yeah, there he is. Anyways, we just pulled it through. Hey. Tag it.
What a hell of a day, huh? Wasn't it great? Scotty, Mark just flat flying out there. The fans, 100,000 fans, everything was moving good. Mark did his little on the deck. Everything was perfect. I like that. Safety first with Geico, you know that.
Hagen, you have to be especially happy with the performance coming off of the unfortunate performance in Ocean City.
Boy, that was a mess, wasn't it? Yeah, 250,000 fans sitting out there, and I'm going, Oh, jeez. But anyway, you know, we have glitches. It's racing. What can we say? But today was perfect, so we worked it out, and thank gosh we didn't have another glitch, so we're going to go forward for the next 7 races. We're going to be good.
And Mike, you weren't lying when you said some of the smaller spec classes really entertained this weekend.
V-Light and Super Stock did not disappoint. Congratulations to Talbot Excavating, your winner in Super Stock, and Watch Your Back, your winner in V-Light.
Well, that'll do it from Stop 2 on the OPA Racing Series presented by Geico. And this is where these crews really earn their money, Mike, because we go from rough water on the ocean to smooth water next week in St. Clair, Michigan.
The setup completely changes in St. Clair, Michigan. Fresh, flat water. It's going to be interesting.
Can you say road trip? Time to pack up the trailer, boys and girls. We'll see you next week from St. Clair, Michigan on the OPA Racing